Sorry about that.
That's okay. I'm gonna hit this. I think really the two things that I used were the listening piece, that I really didn't want somebody to tell me what I should do because nobody else really could. I couldn't just follow somebody else's path. And I talked to lots of different people, you know, to friends of mine who had chosen not to have children, and to friends of mine who have children, and anywhere in between. And so I kept trying to do what was right and do what was right for everybody else. And in the end, I think that Lori, who was the acupuncturist, I think by her saying to me, you can hold those two things at once, she had really listened to me, and she wasn't judging it, and she wasn't saying you should do this or you should do that, or, you know, if you don't have children you'll be bitter forever, or, you know, it'll be wonderful if you don't have kids, or, you know, any of that. So I didn't feel she was giving me advice in terms of that she just was witnessing how I felt. And I found therein I guess the strength, because it was to say this is the path that I have to take, that is so meaningful to me, and I really want to be a parent so much for whatever reason. I still don't know to this day, but I'm, you know, never ever once regretted it or questioned it, except when I'm really, and I never, when I'm really exhausted. But even then, never. I mean, to me, it opened these, like it was like living in two dimensions, and then it was like the third and fourth dimension. My heart opened so much. And I think it was that I found the strength to recognize what meant a lot to me, and what I needed to do. And sometimes it's very hard to link those things. And I think that as I've moved forward, what that has provided for me is, because I was able to do it under such heart-wrenching, difficult circumstances, or felt that way at the time, I feel more able to reconcile like happy and sad things at the same time. And in fact, when we adopted our daughter, we were over in China adopting her on 9/11, and we were supposed to be coming back the next day, and we hadn't heard anything. We were supposed to get a phone call. In fact, on the morning in China, it was like 12 hours ahead, so we were supposed to get a phone call waking us up to get to the airport so we could fly back to the States. And I got a phone call from my sister saying there's been an attack on the World Trade Center, and so we were delayed for several days. But when we got back to the United States, it was, you know, horrific. It was just overwhelmingly sad, and yet at the same time we had this little 14-month-old baby who just was amazing. And I remember, and it still stays with me, the first few lines from Tale of Two Cities. It was the best of times, and it was the worst of times, and it was the summer of hope, and it was the winter of despair. And that's what it felt like, because it was this wonderful event that had taken place, but it was also in the context of this, you know, life-altering, life-shattering tragedy. And I felt like, okay, I can hold those two things. And I think how I use that in teaching communication is, one, to try and listen very hard to my students and not to cookie cutter everybody, you know, and say, okay, everybody has to do the same thing, but to really give people the experience and the opportunity to be heard and learn also to listen. And then also just, I try really hard to talk with my students about things are going to happen. You know, as I'd love to say everything's going to be super and 100%, you know, once you hit 18, then everything's all fireworks and, you know, pink roses, and it's not. And for me, to like give students communication skills that will allow them to cope when things are hard, and to be able to say, you know, yeah, this might be really terrible, and maybe I didn't pass my bar exam. I did, but in fact, I remember before my bar exam, I called my dad and I said, what if I don't pass it? And he said, take it again. And it was so calming to me. So I try that with my students, like, this is, you know, bad stuff is going to happen and hard stuff is going to happen, and here's ways you're going to move through it. It's not going to define you, it's going to, you can have both. You know, you can be sad about something but nonetheless move forward, and it's always going to change. You know, it's going to go from moments of great happiness to moments where you feel incredibly sad, but there's always going to be you know, in the yin yang sign, do you know what those two little dots stand for? So it's the black with the little white dot, and then vice versa. And the little, they represent that in every beginning there's the seed of an ending, and in every ending there's the seed of a beginning. And so I work with that, and I named my daughter Chun Lu, which means in Mandarin, the right path. So
that's really cute. Okay, let me just fix the. I'm not gonna record.
There we go. There you go.